And a very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. Thursday, March 13th. Did I say Thursday? That means there's only one day left of the week. Yay. It is 38 degrees in 2025. I didn't mention the year, so I had to throw that in there. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning, becoming partly cloudy later. Highs in the mid 50s, maybe low 50s, actually. I'll double check that right now with the guy who knows. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, first check of the Garden State forecast. A little chillier, huh?
Little cooler this morning. Yes, good morning, Ken, but also a clear sky. Early on, you got to see a beautiful full moon in the western sky. It was very pretty early on. Now we enjoy the sunrise, and a pretty sunrise at that. You'll be checking those traffic cameras because I'm sure that sun glare repeats itself just like it did this time last month, with the sunrise happening just in time for the peak of the morning commute, giving everybody that sun glare on the roads this morning. With that, temperatures start off in the upper 30s and low 40s. Cool, but not terribly chilly. And with a little bit of a breeze predominantly coming from the east, you will feel the chill with that 24-mile-per-hour gust over in Toms River, of making it feel that much cooler with a touch of a wind chill. It is a little bit cooler than this time yesterday, anywhere between 6 to 11 degrees cooler. And with a few thin clouds last night, overnight was pretty clear overall. Had a few of those clouds run through the central portion of New Jersey early this morning, and now we start off nice and clear, generally speaking. But there will be more clouds developing throughout the day. That's what the Futurecast shows, and into this afternoon, upper 40s, low 50s, it's basically where we'll get. More cloud cover than yesterday, again, thanks to that northeasterly breeze, keeping temperatures cool, maybe a touch more sun in the northwestern corner of the state, but that only helps you cool down faster after the sun sets, back down to the freezing mark overnight. Tomorrow morning, also dry but cool, and it will start off rather chilly, temperatures around 40 degrees, maybe with a hint of more sun in central and northern New Jersey. We actually climb to the upper 50s tomorrow. However, where those clouds and cool northeasterly breezes reside, like the shore points, you're only making it to the low 40s. So a much cooler feel at the shore, not just today, but tomorrow, and even going into the weekend, where temperatures start off chilly as well for Saturday morning. And again, those clouds hanging low. It's going to be a very gray period over the next few days, even with the milder weather that comes in for Saturday. Sunday, very mild. We could be up around 70 in spots, but there won't be a lot of sun. In fact, it stays gray and cool with the rain that moves in later Sunday evening, giving us a good heavy soaking, and then it clears out by Monday afternoon for St. Patrick's Day, looking very pleasant by Tuesday as temperatures cool off and actually start to warm up by the middle of next week. So a better trend after a chilly next few days ahead, and then of course that rain comes in by Sunday. We'll tell you how much rain and what to expect coming up with another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Michele. Much appreciated. 7:03 right now. We do have some traffic to talk about. Let's take a look, Pam, if we can, at the traffic cam. This is on the Garden State Parkway. We have an accident right now on the Garden State northbound, north of exit 153A, which is Route 3 in Clifton. You can see they have a tow on the way, live on TV. Good. Cue the tow truck. So that is causing problems. Of course, that tow truck there to pull that crash off the highway. But again, this is in the vicinity of Clifton, Route 3. This is the Garden State Parkway northbound at exit 153A. Right now, it's the left lane that's actually blocked. The tow is using the right shoulder to get up there. He's going to get over and then pull that vehicle off. Other traffic, we have a crash investigation, Route 40 eastbound, and this is at US 9, Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes are closed, and there is a detour, so follow the detour and use caution through there. We still have that emergency construction and sinkhole. I-80 eastbound, exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes remain closed, and those poor folks, 30 to 60-minute detours every day, and that's going to be the case for, again, the foreseeable future. I-80 still closed through Wharton. It is 7:04 right now. A federal judge was asked to intervene yesterday after outgoing U.S. aid staffers received an email from disgruntled outgoing managers to come in one last time to destroy all of the agency's documents and the paperwork by shredding and burning it all, a move that may be illegal as it may violate the Congressional Records Act. It comes as the Trump administration has been dismantling USAID or USAID, cutting off most federal funding, pulling all but a few hundred staffers off the job from thousands, and shutting down the agency's Washington headquarters. The question is if this is basically a charity type agency giving our taxpayer dollars to other countries for charity reasons, Why do you need to burn the documents? Makes you wonder. 7:05, ICE and DEA agents in New England executed and arrested a number of illegal criminal aliens, as they call them, on Nantucket Tuesday. The DEA confirmed it had arrested a man previously charged with kidnapping and domestic assault and battery, as well as a woman. Of course, Massachusetts is a sanctuary state, protecting these criminals from federal arrest. Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard are exclusive summer getaway islands where the Obamas have a $30 million oceanfront mansion, in spite of the fact that they believe the oceans are rising. They still have an oceanfront mansion. And where the Bidens regularly vacation, the islands were recently the site of ICE arrests, including a 28-year-old Salvadoran illegal alien named Brian Daniel Aldana Arevalo, who was charged with raping a child and indecent assault and battery on a child under 14. But the state of Massachusetts is a sanctuary state and didn't want to turn those people over to ICE. 7:06, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services proposed ending Obamacare coverage for migrants who came into the U.S. illegally as children, also known as dreamers. These are the people who were taken in with their parents. They didn't know any better, and they had no control over themselves. So it's a matter of who do you blame in this case? Is it really their fault? And many people, of course, say no. But the proposal would undo a Biden-era rule that allowed 147,000 of these illegals to enroll in coverage. They are a special circumstance, so you have to understand. As expected, a liberal federal judge blocked the rule from being enforced in 19 states. It is still being litigated. The CMS also proposed that sex trait modification, in other words, transitioning surgery, may not be covered as an essential health benefit for those individuals starting next year. 7:07, many of the anti-Doge and anti-Elon Musk protesters that you've been seeing are being paid by Democrat operatives. It's all apparently part of a propaganda campaign to shift popular opinion by making people think public opinion is shifting in the favor of the pro-Gaza, anti-Israel folks, while polls continue to show that just is not the case. At one protest outside a Tesla dealership in Colorado, a protester did say, "Yeah, I'm paid to be here, so what?" There you have it. Where are Democrats getting the cash? Apparently via their fundraising website that is called Act Blue. People think they're donating to a nice cause. Act Blue is sort of an umbrella charity, if you will, for politics on the left. And then Act Blue parcels the money that you donate with a good-natured heart. You donate the money to them and they give it to groups that then parcel it out to violent protesters, as is the case here, because the folks at the Tesla dealerships have been shooting into the windows, firebombing, and throwing Molotov cocktails. That's not exactly peaceful protest. Peaceful protest, perfectly legal, perfectly allowed, should be protected. When you start throwing Molotov cocktails at a car dealership, that's where you cross the line. 7:08, U.S. Department of Education staff received reduction in force notices as half of the department's workforce has been fired. Also, the DOE building is going to be closed. This will not affect your local school districts as they are funded and run by your state. The federal DOE parcels out extra funds for some federally imposed projects. But prior to 1980, when reading and math scores were actually much higher, there was no U.S. Department of Education. Currently, American students rank nearly last in reading and math scores in the Western world, while we spend more money per pupil than any school system on earth. 7:09, President Trump has only been in office 2 months, actually less than that, and since taking control of ICE, the agency has arrested 32,000 illegal migrants, many of whom had committed crimes above and beyond just being here illegally. In fact, the breakdown is thus: 14,000 arrests were of convicted criminals, 9,800 had pending criminal charges, 1,155 are suspected gang members, and 44 are wanted serious criminals from other countries. Only about 8,700 of the 44,000 are referred to as immigration violators, meaning people who overstayed their visas or who snuck in illegally. Time is coming up on 7:10, and in spite of the bird flu running rampant in our country, resulting in the deaths of over 166 million birds, egg prices have now actually started to fall under President Trump. In fact, for 3 weeks, they've been falling. We've been talking about how expensive they were for months, but mainstream media fails to mention when they start to come down. I don't know about you, I actually go to the supermarket and do my own shopping. And I noticed in the last few weeks that there were loads of eggs on the shelves after being told that the shelves would be bare, and that the prices are actually pretty much what they were, pretty close at least. So at least as of last week, the price for a dozen eggs had fallen by nearly $2 a dozen. So it is now lower to buy a dozen eggs today than when President Trump took office. Because remember, the bird flu began under President Biden's administration. This does not mean to blame President Biden at all. I'm not. It's no one's fault that there was a bird flu. Well, maybe there was. It could have been gain of function. We're looking into that. But the point is, you can't blame President Biden. You don't blame President Trump. Egg prices are because of the avian flu. So once again, egg prices have dropped $2 a dozen. When you go to the market, you'll see what I'm talking about. And the shelves are now full. Two reasons. Number one, poultry farmers have been isolating their flocks of chickens to keep them from getting the flu, the avian flu. And number two, the president authorized the import of hundreds of millions of eggs from Turkey, the country of Turkey, not turkey eggs. Well, Turkey's eggs, I guess you could say. They're chicken eggs, but they're from the nation of Turkey. Anyway, because of that, now there's a large number of eggs, plentiful supply. Eggs last week's, by the way, when they're refrigerated. So now there's plenty here. That's why the prices have dropped. Mortgage rates have also dropped for 6 straight weeks, while the demand for mortgages has spiked by 11%. And the cost of gasoline has plummeted. It's down to nearly half of what it was at its peak under Joe Biden. These are all facts you will not hear from legacy mainstream media. 712, staying on the issue of the economy, the stock market got a much-needed boost yesterday after a few days of jitters. Investors breathed a bit of a sigh of relief when inflation numbers came out and showed inflation was basically non-existent for the first time in years under President Trump. When inflation's under 2%, that's considered flat. You're considered okay. And actually, inflation for the month, this past month, was only 0.2 or 1/5 of 1%, which is awesome because under 4 years of President Biden, we had double-digit inflation sometimes. But under President Trump now, he's only been in office 10 weeks, not even, less than that, to 8 weeks. And we only have inflation at 0.2% as of last month. So that was a positive sign for the path of rate cuts, which could be used to fight an economic slowdown. That means that when the Fed decides on whether to make the prime interest rate, the Fed rate, up or down, make it go down or up for mortgage lending and credit cards, et cetera, chances are they'll either just keep it the way it is, or they may even allow it to stimulate the economy by lowering interest rates a little bit. The data came at a time when President Trump's tariffs have sparked some economic growth worries. The markets were basically flat yesterday. NASDAQ was up 1.2%, S&P up 0.5%, Dow down 0.2%. So basically, when you round it all out, it was flat. Money minds are thrilled, though, that President Trump literally ended years of inflation in weeks. Pretty darn good. 39 degrees now, 7:13. When we come back, spreading kindness and self-love. Plus, what's the weather like? Well, partly sunny this morning, becoming partly cloudy later, sun and clouds. Highs are going to be in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast. And we will take your calls, 888-658-0234. You like what you hear? Call me. You don't like what you hear? Call another station. I'm kidding. Call me either way. We want a debate. We like lively debate. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday. I'm Ken Rosato. It is exactly 7:15, and we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly sunny, highs in the low 50s, right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, I want to clarify. I remember when I was in high school, I had a science teacher who
Okay.
said the difference between partly sunny and partly cloudy. And by the way, I've had different definitions from 5 different meteorologists, including Bill Evans. But I was told my science teacher says partly sunny means 60% clouds, 40% sun, and partly cloudy means 40% clouds, 60% sun. Bill Evans says, no, it's exactly the same thing, Ken. Partly sunny, partly cloudy, exactly the same. And I believe he said, you make little money, I make big money. Shut up and do what I tell you. That's exactly, Bill Evans. So that's exactly what he would say, and he did.
That is exactly
And by
what
the
he
way,
would
he
say.
wasn't wrong. He was not
I
wrong.
just got this
So is
question
it
from my
just a
sister,
generic
who is a
term?
science. My sister's a science teacher, and she just asked me this question from her students. Granted, the weather in Hawaii a little bit different, changes by the minute where she works, but still, with plenty of sunshine on a day like today, you could call it partly sunny, especially into tomorrow. The way I put it is that the partly cloudy is used at night because there is no sun at night. So partly sunny
Oh,
reserved during the day, partly cloudy reserved for the night forecast.
but you've heard it used as well in the day, right? It's sort of like because it means part clouds or part sun. But I
Hmm.
had a program director in radio who used to say, partly cloudy sounds so pessimistic in the daytime, Ken. Just say partly sunny because it sounds better.
Sure. Yeah.
Does that
I
work?
agree with that.
Okay.
I not only do I
So I'll
agree with
go with
that, we're going to be wrong anyway, right? Everybody points the finger and go, "Oh, we're wrong," or the app told me this. Yeah, okay, those apps. See how well that app worked during that fake snowstorm that happened
just like the
over the weekend?
groundhog.
Yes. Oh, please. Don't get me started with the rodents. Hey, forecast looking great today. Really pretty weather this afternoon. Not all that sunny, so we'll call it partly sunny, if you will, especially up north. But in the central portion of the state, stays pretty gray and cloudy with that easterly breeze pushing in a cooler feel along the coast. Only mid 40s for you, likely getting to the upper 50s a little further west of the parkway. Winds get really gusty by the weekend. Notice after 9 o'clock on Saturday, those winds start cranking upwards of 30, 40 miles per hour along the coast and keep going higher as you head further north, even up toward Morristown and by Flemington. Winds on Sunday morning will be upwards of 50 miles per hour, especially in the afternoon. 45-mile-per-hour gust there in Mount Holly. 50 miles per hour gusts on LBI. This is all due to that front pushing in some very warm air before that front moves in and cools us down and also calms down our winds later Sunday overnight into Monday. So we're back to a breezy but cooler feel with that northwesterly wind for St. Patrick's Day, looking very pleasant by then. We get a good soaking of rain on Sunday evening with that wet weather coming in. Could give us up to an inch, generally speaking, about a half inch, maybe a little more down in southern portions of the state as that front pushes through. It's right now waiting off to the west, still has yet to develop. So we keep an eye on those clouds that move in through the course of the day today and give us sort of a gray scene. The futurecast showing those clouds moving in from the south, providing a cooler feel today. Again, northwestern corner of the state maybe sees more sun as well tomorrow. Kind of cloudy with that easterly breeze along the coast. Notice the difference in temperatures, 40s at the coast, 50s further inland, and that'll be the case again for Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, that southwesterly breeze takes over. Look at that, 60s by the end of the day. Inland is still in the 40s at the coast, but it's Sunday's weather that really surprised temperature-wise with that very warm feel as we could reach 70 under cloudy skies, all due to that southwesterly breeze. Here's the line of storms that comes in later Sunday evening. Sunday during the day is pretty dry. It's later on in the afternoon that we have to worry about those heavy rains, and then it all clears out very dry. St. Patrick's Day, a little breezy, little cloudy. Sun returns by Tuesday. Nice and pleasant to start off the next week. And also a milder trend upcoming with those temperatures skyrocketing back into the upper 60s under mostly sunny skies for next week. So we're in the upper 60s by Sunday, but it'll be cloudy and very windy. Again, gusts approaching 50 miles per hour during the day, exceeding 50 miles per hour just before the storm comes through later Sunday evening. And then we're off to the races with the sunshine next week. We'll tell you about that with the 7-day forecast. Ken, it's coming up in our next weather update.
I'm just here. I'm just looking to see where we are in our map here. I can't believe you just said those gusty gusts. 50 miles an hour. That's Florida. That's nuts. That's when Florida gets stormy weather. My gosh, how could that happen
And
in
I've
New
had a
Jersey?
lot
It's
of
impossible.
complaints. You know, the complaint department has ring. You have your call in line. I have the complaint department line. People just call in and complain all the time. It's usually via text. And it's about how windy it's been over the last
Yeah.
few weeks. And this is very common. You know, a lot of people say, oh, is what's going on? It's never been this windy before. When we have the change of seasons approaching, the vernal equinox coming up in a few days, when you get these big weather patterns that kind of sit in place and don't move along, they tend to provide very gusty conditions with that pressure difference in between the big weather patterns.
That's my cousin in Kentucky's name, by the way, vernal equinox. Just so you know,
Vernal
just
equinox.
telling you.
Perfect. All right. Well, tell
Okay,
Vern I said
that's a
hi.
dad joke. Yeah, I will. That's a bad dad joke, and I'm not even a dad. All right, thank you very much, sir. We'll check back with you, Mike. We do have a little bit of traffic to tell you about right now. Let's take a look at the Garden State Parkway camera. We have this is mile marker 149.2 southbound GSP north of exit 148. So that would be in the Bloomfield area. You can see on the right side of your screen how there's a lot of volume right now. So there might be something along, maybe a breakdown up ahead. We know that there is a problem 4 miles away from there at Clifton. Was a crash that has been cleared, but sometimes you get residual delays. So it very well could be the case. We have a crash on 295 southbound south of exit 29, Route 30 in Haddon Heights. The left shoulder is closed. There are about a 10 to 15-minute delays through that area, so use caution. And we also have a little further south of what we just saw on the Garden State Parkway, a crash on the GSP southbound south of 137, which is Route 28 in Cranford Township. The left lane is blocked through there and still have that. We also have a crash investigation now on Route 40 eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes remain closed, everybody being detoured off. So that's a mess through there. And of course, as I was mentioning, the sinkhole repair that's continuing on I-80 eastbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes are closed, folks being detoured. 722. Little Words Project is a jewelry brand with a mission to spread kindness and self-love. On New Jersey's Lisa Marie Falbo caught up with founder and CEO Adriana Carrig to talk about her mission.
On ONNJ Mornings, we love celebrating inspiring women, especially during Women's History Month. Today, we're talking about the power of words and how one New Jersey entrepreneur turned a simple idea into a national movement of kindness and self-love. Adriana Carrig is the founder and CEO of Little Words Project, a jewelry brand that started in her parents' Livingston basement and is now worn by people everywhere, including some big-name celebrities. Adriana, welcome to ONNJ Mornings.
Thank you for having me.
So as we celebrate Women's History Month, how do you hope Little Words Project continues to empower women and make a lasting impact?
Oh my gosh, I am just honored to have a brand that is all about exactly this, empowering women, empowering yourself as a woman. All of our bracelets has a different inspirational word on it, and the idea is to wear that word for as long as you need it and then pass it forward one day to someone who needs it more. So the goal is that everybody who wears this product feels empowered by the words on their wrist and then empowered to then pass it on to a woman who needs it more than she does. And the goal is that over time we see women everywhere wearing this bracelet and representing this brand and engaging in real-time connections in the real world, which we're all starving for these days. And as a brand that is going to continue to speak about the importance of celebrating yourself and others, I can only hope that it's going to accomplish what we set out to do, which is continue to empower those around us. And I'm very, like I said, I'm very proud of this sweet little engine that could.
Absolutely. What word do you think resonates with your bracelet wearers from New Jersey?
Oh my gosh. We're like Jersey strong, right? Like I'd say, strength is our number one selling word across everywhere. I think it totally embodies what we stand for as New Jersey people. We're just like tiny but mighty, right? And then, my personal favorite word is believe. And I think that the embodiment of New Jersey is just this sense of self-belief and this sense of self-worth that no matter how much we might be told otherwise or how much of a bad rap we might get, like we still just believe in who we are. And I love that about I love that about being from New Jersey, and I love being a Jersey girl. Jersey girl, by the way, really does well for us as well. Yes, people are constantly customizing Jersey girl. We sell it in our Jersey store as well. So yeah, anything can work for the right New Jersey girl who gets behind it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is 7:25. New Jersey's Attorney General says a Bergen County Prosecutor's Office lieutenant in some hot water. Published reports say in 2023, 48-year-old Kevin Matthew of Cedar Grove was suspended and arrested for allegedly removing and tampering with drugs held in the evidence vault. Officials say he was indicted yesterday. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin says Matthew is charged with removing and tampering with drug evidence, including cocaine and fentanyl, on multiple occasions. He also was charged with financial facilitation of criminal activities, structuring financial transactions, and filing fraudulent tax returns in connection with depositing $600,000 approximately in cash into bank accounts that he controlled. Translation of all that? Investigators say after this person who worked for the prosecutor's office, Matthew, he apparently allegedly got hold of those drugs from the evidence vault. Somehow then, whatever happened with those drugs, he then came into control of hundreds of thousands in cash and made a number of tiny deposits so as not to alert bank officials. So you can guess what might have happened or not. Remember, people are innocent until proven guilty. While not being able to explain how he came into all that money, it's all now under investigation. 7:26, a federal judge was asked to intervene yesterday after outgoing USAID staffers received an email from disgruntled outgoing managers to come in one last time and destroy all the agency's documents and paperwork by shredding and burning it all. A move that could very well be illegal, as it could violate the Congressional Records Act. It comes as the Trump administration has been dismantling USAID, cutting off most federal funding, pulling all but a few hundred staffers off the job, and shutting down the agency's Washington headquarters. 7:27, many of the anti-Doge and anti-Elon Musk protesters that you're seeing are being paid by Democratic operatives. It's all apparently part of a propaganda campaign to shift popular opinion by making people think public opinion is shifting against the Israelis and for the Gazans, while polls continue to show it is not. Now, this does not mean people are against the citizens of Gaza. We're talking about Hamas, which is the terrorist organization running Gaza. At one protest outside a Tesla dealership in Colorado, a protester there admitted that, yeah, I'm here because I'm being paid. Where are the Democrats getting their cash? Well, apparently via their fundraising website. It's called Act Blue. So Act Blue is a kind of a clearinghouse website anyone can click on. The Republicans have the same type of website called Act Red, I believe, or just called Red, where you can go and donate money and then it gets parceled out to different Republican causes. The Democrats have their version called Act Blue. You go on there and you donate to that organization, the umbrella organization, and then they parcel it out to various groups. The problem is some of those groups are financing these protesters, these quote unquote protesters. So the protests are not organic. These are people who get reached out to via social media. They show up at these sites. They get handed $100. They're told, because the signs are pre-printed, the megaphones are handed out, so that you don't just have that in your house and show up with it. So this stuff is organized. So don't be fooled by propaganda. That's how the German government did it, and the communists in Russia, the Soviet Union did it. And let's not be fooled by the same thing. It is 38 degrees now at 7:28. When we come back, skiing on St. Patrick's Day. You can do it in New Jersey. We'll have the details. Plus, the phone lines are open. We're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says sun and clouds, depending on where you are. We have sunshine in the northern part of the state, clouds in the southern part of the state, highs in the low 50s. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You are watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We're coming right back. and welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. It is Thursday morning. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 7:31 right now. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, a little bit more cloudy to the south, so it's grayer, cloudier the further south you go. Highs in the low 50s. By the way, that does not reflect the mood of the individuals. We're just talking about what Mother Nature has given us. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast to explain it all. Good morning to you, Mike.
Staying positive today, Ken, because we wound up having a little bit more sunshine yesterday.
Oh, Mike, let me stop you. Let me stop you. Your mic fell. You're not. You don't have your mic on.
It sounds weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're missing a mic.
Now?
I'll sing. Let me sing an Italian song while you put that on. Arrivederci Roma. La 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 la. That'll get
Are
him
we
to put the mic
back?
on fast.
Did it work?
Nope, it still sounds a hollow.
Very echoey. Oh, I
don't
know
see
what
it
happened.
on you. I don't see it.
I think the microphone reset. Come back to me, and I'll fix it in about 30 seconds.
Okay. So you know what? I'll keep talking for a sec because I could do that because I got a big mouth. My father said I had a big mouth at the age of 4, and now he's 94. I say, you see, Dad, it gave me a whole career. So Mike is just sitting. This is live TV. This is what happens. But you know what? We're all family here, so it's a good thing. By the way, as Mike was saying here, I'll tell you a little bit. He was saying we were discussing partly sunny and partly cloudy, the terminology before. And I was taught when I was in grammar school that partly sunny meant it was mostly cloudy, just a little bit of sun, and partly cloudy meant it was mostly sunny, just a few clouds. So it was antithetical to what it sounded like. So I'm now 57 years old, and for basically 47 years, I've been using that terminology until other real professional meteorologists like Mike and my friend Bill, I used to work with at Channel 7, said, no, Ken. Bill said, you don't know what you're talking about. This is why I'm a meteorologist and you're not. And Bill pointed out that they're basically interchangeable. And as Mike pointed out, he likes to say partly cloudy if it's at night because we don't have sunshine, and partly sunny if it's in the day. Who's here? Meteorologist Mike Favetta? No, a little echoey. You know, we could get through. We could get through it. Let's get through it and then we'll figure it out.
All right.
Go ahead. Here's meteorologist Mike Favetta.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Hey, we've got a pretty decent day ahead with mostly cloudy skies to start the afternoon, but I think those clouds hang around throughout the rest of the day with a chilly feel and then more breaks of sun by the end of the day on Friday. In fact, with a little bit of a gusty wind taking over, by Saturday, those gusts really start ramping up in the afternoon on Sunday, with those gusts likely over 50 miles per hour. So plan on some pretty windy conditions, especially down at the shore points, where today you'll feel quite chilly in the 40s, but at least we get that later sunset each afternoon. Sunset now after 7:02 this evening. You can see the clouds working their way in through central and southern New Jersey, northern sections of the state. Nice and clear right now, but you join in the clouds later on this afternoon as the rain chances go higher over the next several days, specifically for Sunday. Again, that's really Sunday evening into Sunday night. Most of the daylight hours on Sunday are dry, clear through, say, about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we see that rain enter the western portion of the state later on. Air quality is back to the good level today, thanks to that refreshing breeze off of the water and keeping any of the pollutants back off to the west. So we stay dry, we stay clear, just those clouds hang low going into the afternoon today. With the system offshore, it's kind of throwing back a lot of clouds throughout tomorrow as well as Saturday. And then the front arrives from the west, bringing in warm air at first, then very windy conditions, and then finally that push of gusty winds and rain. That'll be along with the front, happens later Sunday night into Monday morning. It clears out, I think, just in time for Monday afternoon for any parades. So looking good on St. Patrick's Day. But until then, a much cooler feel as temperatures begin to cool down over the next several days, keeping highs in the 50s only, warming with that wind on Sunday. Then the rain comes in, and we see a clearing trend for next week with lots of sun Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Look at Wednesday's high, up at 66. I think we could be pushing 70 at times. The shore points see a little touch of fog come in on Saturday. Before the winds start whipping, there'll be that warm front passing through, letting temperatures climb. And when you have the warm air over a cold ocean, tend to develop some fog, especially with that calm, still air. So that'll be the case for the day on Saturday. Warm winds remain for Sunday, then the rain pushes in with those storms. I think it all clears out by Monday, but highs noticeably 10 degrees cooler under that sunny sky for the middle of next week. So a big change in terms of the cloud cover, the temperature, and then of course the sun for next week. Every few hours, it seems, Ken, the weather's changing here in New Jersey as we enter the end of March.
All right, Mike, here's what I want you to do. Look down at your lapel to the left. I think your
Yeah,
microphone is down in your shirt.
it's right here. That didn't
Oh,
work.
is
I
it?
don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Oh, see, normally you keep it on your lapel, and I didn't see it. So I thought I saw it here. I thought I was a wise guy and solved the problem. All right.
I'll
For
work on it.
Christmas, I'll send you 3 backup mics. You'll be like the network anchors with like the 2 or 3 jammed here on you. There you go.
Thanks.
All right, meteorologist Mike Favetta, you are the best, sir. We'll check back in a little bit. It is now 7:36, and in terms of traffic, we do have. Let's go to the traffic cam if we can, Pam. We have a little bit of a slowdown. This was much heavier, of course, 30 seconds ago. It's not so bad right now, but this is the Garden State Parkway, both directions going through the Bloomfield Avenue between the Bloomfield area. This is between exits 147 and 148. You can just see, in fact, the traffic coming toward you is going toward the tolls. So that's probably why they're slowing down. But it was very slow a minute ago in both directions. But that is the case with traffic. 1 minute it's dead stop, the next minute it's flowing. You can never guarantee it one way or the other. We also have some issues on I-76 as you go more toward Philadelphia. Crash on I-76 westbound west of exit 1B, which is 295 in Gloucester City. The right lane is closed and about a 10-minute delay. A little further away, about 10 miles south of what we were just showing you on the Garden State Parkway, there's a crash southbound, south of exit 137, Route 28 in Cranford. All lanes are open, but there are delays through there. Crash on 295 southbound, south of exit 29, which is Route 30 in Haddon Heights, left shoulder closed with delays through the area. Still have problems on I-40, US 40 rather. Crash investigation eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes are closed and everybody's being detoured off. And we have that sinkhole repair continuing I-80 eastbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes closed and everybody is being detoured off. 7:38. St. Patrick's Day, just around the corner. It's next week. And this year, Big Snow American Dream in East Rutherford is bringing a little luck of the Irish to the slopes. North America's only indoor ski attraction is hosting Shamrocks, Snow, and Surprises with their Lucky Tracks scavenger hunt and hidden pots of gold. Joining us now is Amiana Tyransky, Resort Marketing Manager for Big Snow American Dream. Amiana, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yes, nice to have you on. And Big Snow is so cool. I mean, I used to live 2 minutes from there, and when the American Dream first opened up, and we don't call it the M word, right? Because it's much more than that. When
No.
American Dream first, notice I'm not even using the word. When they first opened up, I went in there, and there was a sense, and I hate to compare it to a resort, but it is like kind of like going to Disney. You walk in, there's that sort of feel because of the enormity of it. So to have a ski resort inside is just so cool. And
Oh
St.
yeah,
Patrick's Day is all about, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you don't want to drive an hour and a half, you got it right here in East Rutherford. So St. Patrick's Day is all about luck and celebration. Big Snow putting a unique spin on it with Lucky Tracks scavenger hunt. So tell us more about what guests can expect if they join the hunt on March 17th.
Yeah, of course. So, something we love to do at Big Snow is scavenger hunts. We find that our guests just have a lot of fun with it, and it just adds some extra excitement to the slopes and to celebrate, some of the holidays. So, for this Lucky Track scavenger hunt, we're going to be hiding a bunch of mini pots of gold around the slope. And you're going to find everything from lift tickets or discounts on gear, lessons, you name it. So we're gonna hide about like 12 around the slope area. And yeah, there's just gonna be tons of prizes. It's just a fun little activity. We're gonna be posting hint locations on our Instagram at Big Snow AD. And to make it even better, we're going to be offering $17 slope access tickets. So you can come for just $17 on Monday only, participate in the scavenger hunt, and, snowboard, ski, you name it. So I think it's just going to be a really fun way to celebrate Monday, get people lucky, maybe find some fun prizes, but also you can just come for $17, which is a really great chance to hit at an
That's
unbeatable
crazy.
price.
That's a crazy price because think about how
Yeah.
expensive and what a challenge it is to get everybody together in a car. You drive an hour or two away. If you could get, reserve time to get on, and then you pay a fortune to get access to slopes all day, and it's a lot. And then you got to drive back if you're not going to stay overnight. Here for $17 on Monday, that's unheard of. And what a great deal. And the beautiful part about that, where you are, is with big snow that you have a constant temperature and constant snowmaking. So it's not like you'll come into crusty snow in some areas and soft snow in others. It is flawless powder everywhere because I've experienced it.
Oh yeah.
Very, very cool place. So, what inspired Big Snow to create this special promotion, and how can people take advantage of it? Was it to try to draw people in who may not have otherwise been there?
Yeah, we really love to prioritize people who've never gone skiing or snowboarding before. It's the perfect place to learn, really. And as you said, we have perfect conditions. We're constantly at a temperature of 28 degrees, and it's real snow. A lot of people don't realize that, but it is real snow. It's the same snow you're getting on the mountains. And it's just a great way to learn. It's a great way to try it out. We offer everything from rentals, from jackets and pants to the snowboard and skis. It's a great place to try it out for the first time, and winter never ends here. So you can do it in the spring, summer, fall, you name it. So yeah, we just wanted to create an event that's just fun for our guests and to really celebrate everybody. And we wanted to give them a good deal because, we love to fill the slope with happy people, and we just like to share the joy and make sure everybody gets a chance to try a snow sport at least once in their lifetime.
I think that's brilliant. It's so, so brilliant. And the scavenger hunt clues, for those who don't realize, they're going to be shared on Big Snow's Instagram stories. So, how did you decide to incorporate social media into the event, and what tips do you have for participants hoping to track down those hidden treasures?
Yeah, so we love to incorporate social media as much as we can. We find a lot of our users and our guests are following us on Instagram, so we like to, give them little tidbits of information, maybe even special deals every now and then, and to get them more fun so they're not just going on a mad hunt looking for these. We're going to post fun little story hints, so you'll get a picture that's hinting at the location of one of these prizes. And they'll be posted in the morning right before we open. So once you get to the slope, no matter what time of day, you have a little chance because we have about 4 acres of snow, so it is quite a bit of space. So we like to make it a little bit easier for people to find these prizes. We want them to be found. We don't want them to go missing.
So cool. And you have, as you mentioned, 4 acres of snow-covered slopes right there in East Rutherford, and a
Yes.
160-foot vertical drop. That's just so cool. And Big Snow it's a pretty big place. So how did your team go about planning where to hide all the pots of gold to make it challenging and fun? So it wasn't too easy, but not impossible.
Oh, it's we've worked out a method at this point. This isn't our first scavenger hunt. It's our first time doing pots of gold, so I'm very excited about that. But we have kind of scoped out some spots beforehand, and we try to find things that get a decent foot traffic, but still we can hide it a bit, so it's not right out in your face. So we usually have success with our spots, and we'll get input from some other team members if they have any great ideas for places to hide things. But really, it's kind of like a community thing with our team members over at Big Snow. We like to get everybody involved where we can, and it's just fun for everybody, from team members to guests. So it's just a great time.
And beyond the scavenger hunt and the deals, what else can guests look forward to March 17th to make their St. Patrick's Day extra special at Big Snow?
So, I mean, on top of the $17 slope access tickets, which is crazy, we will also be running some pass sales, which I know a lot of our seasoned riders love to get. We'll be having discounts on our 6-pack multi-passes along with our 3-pack rental packages, and we'll even be waiving the initiation fee off of our monthly subscription Snow Pass.
Wow. That's amazing. Let's give the website once again so people can go on and get more info and get tickets.
Yeah, so you can get tickets at bigsnowamericandream.com, and you can find all of the slope hints at Big Snow AD on Instagram.
That's amazing. It is called Big Snow American Dream, East Rutherford. You can't miss it if you're on Route 3, for gosh sakes. It's the biggest darn thing there. You can see it from space. North America's only indoor ski attraction, hosting shamrock, snow, and surprises with their Lucky Track scavenger hunt and hidden pots of gold. Amiana Tyransky, Resort Marketing Manager, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us. We hope to see everybody there soon.
Absolutely, you bet. Have a good St. Patrick's Day. Take care.
You too.
Thank you. It is 39 degrees now, 7:46, partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, a little cloudier in the south, highs in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta returns with your full Garden State forecast. And New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. We're also taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 7:47. We are taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly sunny in the northern part of the state, a little cloudier to the south, highs in the low 50s. And we go right to meteorologist Mike Pavetta with a new and improved microphone and the Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
You know, Ken, it's funny. You mentioned a backup microphone. I have the whole backup system ready to go. Yet I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? This is brand new. No, the little automatic volume decided to turn itself on. And so I watched it go lower and lower and lower. And then I pull it back and then it drops lower and lower. And it's just one of those days. Must
The
be a
battery.
Thursday.
Does it need a
Must be a
battery?
Thursday. No, it's the actual operating system. The computer is just has a mind of its own, and here we go. I don't know. You try everything, you have contingencies, and still, it just doesn't want to happen. It's kind of how.
It's
Remember
all
the
good.
first few days of this show? There was like every technical issue possible that we've never
We couldn't
experienced
log on.
in the
We tested it. We tested, just so everyone knows, the weekend leading up to the first day, to that Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We checked the log on, everything worked flawlessly. Monday morning, leading up to the show, we tried over and over again. We could not log on. We tried different browsers. Nothing would let us connect. So I was 7 minutes late getting on the air the first day. We tried over an hour. We finally got it to work. But
it was a very long weather hit when our director Pam said, "Mike, just talk. Just do the weather." And here we are. So thank you for the operatic interlude before. I appreciate it.
I tried.
It was very, very
I
good.
tried.
Yes. It's from O Solo Mio to here we are this afternoon. Hey, we've got some great weather on the way for the next few days. Milder by the time we get to the weekend, Ken. But you won't see a whole lot of sunshine as the clouds take over, especially going into Sunday afternoon with very gusty winds. There will be a healthy dose of clouds around today, but you might see a break of sun. We'll call it partly sunny, if you will. If you missed it before, the full explanation is going up on Instagram, so you can catch that clip there of whether it's partly sunny or partly cloudy over in Hackensack and Jersey City this afternoon. Regarding how much rain will fall this weekend, still not enough to bust our drought. There will be a good dose of heavy rain, up to an inch, maybe an inch and a half as the storms push through. Where you see the shade of red, that's the extreme one drought that continues for southern New Jersey, really the garden portion of the Garden State, where a lot of our crops and veggies are grown. But up in the northern section, still the residual drought continues, as a lot of the rainfall buckets are below average just in the last 30 days, and still below average even up in Sussex by upwards of an inch only in the last 30 days. Looking a little further down the line to the end of March, we have better chances of above average temperatures, not just here in New Jersey, but most of the Northeast. That will feel fantastic and kind of make it feel like spring, and slightly above average chances of rainfall across the state, specifically the northern half. Again, where the drought is the worst, not going to see a whole lot of rain, at least in the next several weeks. Our forecast points to a cooling trend over the next few days here in northern New Jersey, with the 7-day forecast bringing highs into the mid-50s for Friday. Saturday, climbing back up into the upper 50s, maybe around 60, but Sunday is going to feel warm and very windy. Remember those wind gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour before the front pushes through. That front clears us, cools us down, dries us out, and brings back temperatures in the 60s by the middle of next week. So a drying, cooler trend on the way, with a little bit of a warm-up next week. Shore Points has fog for Saturday. That's before the winds kick up later on Saturday evening. And with the gusty winds on Sunday, you'll feel them, especially at the shore points coming in right off of the water, down south of Atlantic County, Cape May County. Very gusty winds, upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour at the coast. Clearing after the storms on Sunday night, and then Monday and Tuesday of next week sees a drying, cooler trend that ultimately warms only into the mid-50s at the shore. A much cooler breeze this time of year down along the beachfront. We'll take another check of your forecast and detail those winds, time them out, because they get very gusty later on Sunday afternoon. That's coming up in a bit.
You know, now that I'm in the operatic mood, I feel like singing the Eurythmics as an opera man. Here comes the rain again, falling on my head like a tragedy. What do you think?
Hey, it
All
works.
right.
It works.
It works for people who have hearing issues. Thank you very much, Mike. We'll check back with you in a little bit. I apologize to everybody for that little moment. 7:52 right now. Let's take a look at traffic. We do have again, 2 seconds ago, this was bumper to bumper. Now it's moving a little bit, but you can see the slowdown. This is Garden State Parkway and the area of exit 147, 148 near Bloomfield. You can see there's something going on the right side there by the breaker in the roadway, and that's causing people to tap their brakes and slow down, but not a major problem. Oftentimes at this area near the Bloomfield tolls, the toll plaza, there's usually a lot of traffic. This is actually not so bad, considering there is a vehicle stop there right now. We also have a crash on 295 northbound, north of exit 26N, which is I-76, 676 in Belmar. 2 left lanes are closed, so please use caution. Way down from where that was, about 25 miles away on the Garden State Parkway, we have a problem northbound, south of exit 123, Route 9 in Sayreville. There is a disabled vehicle causing the right lane to be blocked. We have a crash, an overturned tractor trailer now on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur southbound exit ramp, interchange 15E by 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open, but the right half of the exit ramp is currently closed. So that's something, or blocked, I should say. So that's something to look out for. And we have a crash on I-76 westbound, west of exit 1B, which is 295 in Gloucester City. The right lane is closed with about 10 to 15 minute delays. Still have that emergency pothole repair going on, or sinkhole, not pothole, sinkhole repair on eastbound I-80. Exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. And we have the ongoing problem of a crash investigation on Route 40 eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes remain closed and people being detoured off. So follow the detour and use caution. 7:54. Now time for politics from Trenton, explained like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, March 13th. Welcome to the Inside Edge. In 1973, there was a young assemblyman who was swept into office after voters became fed up by the Watergate scandal. And this guy lasted almost 6 months before he was arrested for stealing an air conditioner. Arnold D'Ambrosio was the Rahway Public Works Superintendent. He was 39 years old, beat 2 incumbents in a district that included Plainfield and Rahway. And I should set the stage for this 1973 election. Watergate was the focus of America. Senate hearings were televised nationally. 70% of New Jerseyans viewed Richard Nixon unfavorably, and the Democratic candidate for governor had a 20-point lead. And then on Saturday, October 20th, 17 days before the election, Nixon fired the Watergate special prosecutor because he refused to pull back subpoenas that would have obtained tape recordings from the Oval Office. This is known as the Saturday Night Massacre, and that was it for Republicans in New Jersey. Brendan Byrne won 67% of the vote. Democrats won 29 Senate seats and 66 assembly seats. And so if we jump ahead to July 2nd of 1974, Arnold D'Ambrosa is in Trenton for a committee hearing, and he finds out that the Union County prosecutor is looking for him. He was being charged with embezzlement, with fraud and grand larceny and extortion, perjury, misconduct. He was accused of taking a 10-ton air conditioning system owned by the city and selling it for $800. And those allegations against D'Ambrosa grew because it came out that he'd stolen Belgian blocks and lime and cement and trees and fertilizer, all from the city. And then he sent Public Works Department employees down to his shore home in Point Pleasant with those materials to do work on his house. And on top of that, he took a $200 bribe from a local businessman. But Assemblyman D'Ambrosa maintained his innocence. He refused to resign. He spent 75% of his time in the legislature under indictment. Didn't run again in 75. Those seats flipped to the Republicans. That was when Don DeFrancesco was first elected to the state assembly. And in December, he pleads guilty. And the timing on this is interesting. On Friday, January 9th, 1976, D'Ambrosa is sentenced to 9 months in jail. The judge told him to begin his sentence on Monday morning, January 12th. He still had 24 hours left in his term in the assembly. He never resigned. And so on his first day in prison, Arnold D'Ambrosa was still an assemblyman. When he got out, he moved to Ocean County. He built a successful yacht sales company. He even became a Republican, and he never got in trouble again. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow.
We love you. There's David Wildstein with the Inside Edge. It is now 39 degrees at 7:58. When we come back, remaining USAID staffers get an email to burn all of the organization's confidential papers as they head out the door. But is that a legal act? Plus, we will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta has the full Garden State forecast in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Morning, seen daily on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we stream live at Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey, all spelled out. We're coming right back. Good morning to you. It's 8 a.m. Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings once again. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs low 50s. We head to meteorologist Mike Pavetta with a first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Morning, Ken. It's a chilly morning here in New Jersey, but like you had mentioned, a little bit of sun peeking through the clouds. So a nice way to start the day with some cloudy skies entering the central portion of the state. Anticipate a cooler feel by day's end. Or like Ken mentioned, only reaching the mid-50s at best, and with that easterly breeze pulling in a very chilly air off of the cold Atlantic Ocean, making it feel so much cooler with that 23-mile-per-hour wind gust in Toms River. The wind chill actually makes it feel even a little bit cooler. We're running anywhere from 5 to 9 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So starting off our day at 8:02, bringing back plenty of sunshine for the first part of the day. Clouds increase through this afternoon. You see here on the Futurecast going into the end of the day, temperatures really don't warm up that much. Maybe getting to 50 over in Hackensack and Newark, and then cooling right back down with that northeasterly breeze pulling in the chilly Atlantic air. Look at that, 42 by the end of the day there in Toms River. So a much cooler feel thanks to that wind direction at the coast. And then as the wind shifts after another chilly and cloudy day tomorrow, maybe climbing into the mid-50s with a few breaks of sun. Look what happens for Saturday. Winds move in from the south and west, and that helps drive temperatures much warmer by Saturday afternoon, starting in the 40s, but climbing up around 60 by the end of the day Saturday. That's without the sun. So Mount Holly, 65 degrees, 64 for you in Medford, and 64 in Millville. Much milder because of that wind direction in advance of a very gusty wind on Sunday, leading to some storms by Sunday evening. Here's the front that pushes through, making us go from near 70 and windy on Sunday afternoon, and then the front pushes in late Sunday night, giving us a good soaking rain, and also drives out the clouds and brings in cooler, drier weather for Monday into Tuesday. So sun is back next week with a milder feel, but still we'll have plenty of winds in the meantime, specifically by the end of the weekend. So for the next several days, temperatures cool off each afternoon as we only climb into the mid-50s at best, but by Sunday we're very warm and very windy. Winds could be as high as 50 miles per hour Sunday afternoon, and even higher at the coast with that southerly breeze. We'll tell you more about that with the hour-by-hour wind forecast, Ken, that's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. It is now 39 degrees at 8:03. Let's take a look at a traffic cam on the Garden State Parkway. And of course, 2 minutes ago, this was bumper to bumper. Oh, it's a little slow there. You can still see on the top there. This is mile marker 150 south of the Essex Toll Plaza. So you can see as people are heading into the toll plaza on the right side there, the upper part, the upper right corner, you can see a bit of a slowdown. That's really just volume at this hour and any little bit of sunshine glaring from the east. So that would be off to the right, the upper right corner of that of your screen right now, causing that. We also have a crash investigation, Route 40 eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes are closed and people are being detoured off through there. Crash on 295 northbound, north of exit 26N, which is Route 76, I-676 in Belmore. 2 right lanes are closed through that area. Crash on Route 55. This is a new one. North of exit 48, which is Ellis Mill Road in Harrison Township. The right lane and shoulder are closed. They're about 10 to 15-minute delays, so use caution through there. Garden State Parkway further south of what we were just looking at, there are, pardon me, there's a disabled vehicle. Local lanes are, pardon me, being affected northbound south of exit 123, which is Route 9 in Sayreville. So 1 right lane is blocked. That's on the Garden State Parkway. We have a crash and an overturned tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur southbound exit ramp at interchange 15E, which is routes 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open, but the right half of the exit ramp is blocked. We have a crash on I-76 westbound west of exit 1B, which is 295 in Gloucester City. A right lane is closed with 10-minute delays through there. And we have delays on delays on Route 15 southbound. That is, of course, it's repopulating as I'm talking to you. It flashes and resets the screen. This is southbound from north of Route 615 Edison Road in Jefferson Township to I-80 in Wharton. That is connected with what I'm about to tell you, which is the sinkhole repair ongoing I-80 eastbound, exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton, and that will be ongoing for the foreseeable future. Our time now is 8:05. New Jersey's Attorney General says a Bergen County Prosecutor's Office lieutenant, so a person who works for the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, may be in some hot water. Published reports say that back in 2023, 48-year-old Kevin Matthew of Cedar Grove was suspended and arrested for allegedly removing and tampering with drugs that were held in the evidence vault. Well, officials say that he was indicted yesterday. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin says Matthew is charged with removing and tampering with drug evidence, including cocaine and fentanyl, on multiple occasions. He also was charged with financial facilitation of criminal activity, structuring financial transactions, and filing fraudulent tax returns in connection with depositing about $600,000 in cash into bank accounts that he controlled. What does all that mean? That sounds like gibberish. The translation of that is investigators say that after Matthew got hold of the drugs from the evidence vault, that somehow he made the drugs disappear and came into hundreds of thousands in cash that he then deposited, according to investigators, into banks with a bunch of little deposits so that they would not alert bank officials. No word on how he came into all that money. This is all under investigation. Remember, people are innocent until proven guilty, but this is now a serious investigation. 8:06, a federal judge was asked to intervene yesterday after outgoing U.S. aid staffers received an email from their disgruntled outgoing managers to come in one last time and destroy all of the agency's documents and paperwork by shredding and burning everything in burn bags, a move that may be considered illegal as it could violate the Congressional Records Act. It comes as the Trump administration has been dismantling U.S. aid, cutting off most federal funding, pulling all but a few hundred staffers off the job, and shutting down the agency's Washington headquarters. It is 38 degrees now at 8:07. ICE and DEA agents in New England have executed and arrested a number of, they've executed arrest warrants on a number of illegal criminal aliens on Nantucket Tuesday. The DEA confirmed it had arrested a man previously charged with kidnapping and domestic assault and battery, as well as a woman. Of course, Massachusetts is a sanctuary state protecting these criminals from federal arrest, and they are criminals. We'll explain. Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard are exclusive summer getaway islands. That's where the Obamas have their $30 million oceanfront mansion and where the Bidens regularly vacation. The islands were recently the site of ICE arrests that include a 28-year-old Salvadoran illegal alien named Brian Daniel Aldana Arevalo, who was charged with raping a child and indecent assault and battery on a child under 14, but he had been protected by the state, and they kept his identity and location secret from ICE agents because, again, Massachusetts insists on remaining a sanctuary state for illegal migrants. We do not know why, but that's what happens. Including, it's one thing if you don't want to turn over people who are there illegally but haven't committed crimes, but a guy accused of or convicted of raping a child, why are you protecting that individual and not helping the feds? Shame on all of you in Massachusetts and the other sanctuary states, New Jersey and New York as well, and Connecticut. 8:08 is our time. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services proposed ending Obamacare coverage for migrants who came into the U.S. illegally as children. They're known as Dreamers. The proposal would undo a Biden-era rule that allowed 147,000 of these illegals to enroll in coverage. As expected, a liberal federal judge has blocked the rule from being enforced in 19 states. It's still being litigated. The CMS also proposed that sex trait modification, aka transitioning, may not be covered as an essential health benefit starting next year. 8:09, many of the anti-Doge and anti-Elon Musk protesters you've been seeing are not organic. They've been paid by Democrat operatives. It's all apparently part of a propaganda campaign to shift popular opinion by making people think public opinion is shifting from pro-Israel to pro-Hamas. And we're not talking about the people of Gaza. We're talking about Hamas, which is a terrorist organization that is in charge of Gaza. Polls continue to show people in the United States are for Israel. At one protest outside a Tesla dealership in Colorado, a protester admitted that he was paid to be there. He said it on camera. Where are Democrats getting the cash? Apparently via their fundraising website, called Act Blue. So people make a donation on Act Blue. It's sort of an umbrella repository of donations, and then the money gets given out to various liberal organizations all around the country. Many of them are funding and financing these inorganic protesters. So these are people who are being told, show up, this location outside the Tesla dealership Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We'll give you $100 if you protest for an hour. That's literally what is happening. And they're being told about it on social media. Excuse me. It's 8:10. U.S. Department of Education staff received reduction in force notices as half of that department's workforce has been fired. Also, the DOE building will be closed. This will not affect your local school districts as they are funded by your state. So that means New Jersey will not be affected at all. Only about 7% of the financing of the school districts comes from the federal government. That money will still come via the Treasury Department. So if they end up shutting down the Education Department, you will still have money coming in. Most of the Fed money that comes in for the U.S. Department of Education anyways for things like Pell Grants and even the food that's fed in schools to children who need breakfast and lunches and in some cases dinners. That food does not come from the Education Department. That actually comes from the Department of Agriculture. So that's a misnomer. It's a misconception that it comes from the Department of Education. So none of that is being impacted. It's literally a multi-billion-dollar agency that has had a lot of fraud and waste. It didn't exist prior to 1980. We had good education beforehand. In fact, scores for math and science were higher prior to 1980, and the cost per pupil was way less than it is today. The average cost per pupil in the United States is in the $20-some-odd thousand range, yet we are dead last in math and science scores out of any Western nation in the Western world. That is shameful, but that's what we have right now. 8:12, in spite of the bird flu running rampant in our country, resulting in the deaths of over 166 million birds, egg prices are now actually down. They've been falling for 3 weeks under President Trump. As of last week, the price for a dozen eggs had fallen by nearly $2 a dozen, and bank interest rates are down. The cost of gas has plummeted. Facts that have been amazingly left out of the reports on legacy media. President Trump has only been in office 2 months, and since taking control of ICE, the agency's arrested 32,000 illegal migrants, many of whom had committed crimes above and beyond just being here illegally. 14,000 of those arrests were of convicted criminals. 9,800 had pending criminal charges. 1,155 are suspected gang members, and 44 are wanted in other countries for serious felonies. There are about 8,700 referred to as immigration violators, meaning people who overstayed their visas or who snuck in illegally. So it is a misconception there to think that the ICE folks are going after everybody who's not here legally. The vast majority, about 90% of all the people they had gone after are criminals, people who had committed felonies on our citizens or in other countries. It is 39 degrees now at 8:13, and Passover is just a month away. We will have a member of a special library from Northwestern New Jersey, that library having resources to make the holiday all the more special. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs in the low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast. Plus, we are taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15, taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs low 50s. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, a pretty decent afternoon ahead. Dry, but like you mentioned, cloudier and cooler with that wind coming off of the water, making it feel quite chilly by day's end. Locations along the shore from Long Branch and Point Pleasant only in the 40s, but you have to head further inland to enjoy those low 50s. And still, that's a stretch given how warm it's been over the last several days. Really felt like spring, and it's feeling like spring with the wind too, because those winds will be gusting by the end of the day Saturday. That's when the breezes pick up. Coming in from the south, you'll notice them first in southern New Jersey, and then that shade of red indicating gusts higher than 40 miles per hour take over through most of the state. By Sunday morning, those winds remain gusty all afternoon and really peak right before the front pushes through Sunday evening. So by 5 o'clock, this is not an exaggeration, we could have gusts exceeding 55 miles per hour out on LBI, 56 miles per hour out of the south in Atlantic City, and staying very gusty specifically at the coast, but still very breezy inland with those gusts over 40 miles per hour throughout Sunday night. Once the front pushes by and the rain comes down, then after midnight on Sunday going into Monday morning, we see that wind shift and breezes, while still breezy, they relax, only up to about 20 miles per hour on Monday. So better weather for the parades. Regarding the wind and the rain, rather, we'll see up to an inch later Sunday night. But notice all these clouds that are working in now. This is our first batch of cloudy weather that gives us our gray skies today, and it's really taking over across central and southern portions of the state this afternoon. The futurecast shows those clouds hanging low, not just for today, but for the next several days, and we'll see that cooler weather around as well, even though we try to make it into the 50s tomorrow with a break of sun in northern New Jersey. Right back to the cloudy, cool weather tomorrow evening into Saturday morning. Notice by Sunday morning, it's starting to warm up a little bit, especially in the afternoon hours by the end of the day. And then here's that front that pushes in with those showers and storms later Sunday evening going into later Sunday night. When that all pushes out, we're back to clear sky by Monday. Tuesday looks fantastic, lots of sunshine, and then I think that milder trend just builds day by day as we head into the end of next week with temperatures back up into the upper 60s and sunny, so that'll feel great. Sunday afternoon's forecast, very windy. Again, this is a sustained wind out of the south at 20 miles per hour, those gusts easily exceeding 40 by the afternoon and potentially 50 miles per hour later on at night. So very windy conditions on the way for Saturday and Sunday, but specifically Sunday afternoon. We'll tell you more about that milder trend on the 7-day forecast, Ken. It's coming up in just a bit.
Very good, Mike. Thank you. 39 degrees now at 8:18. And let's take a look at this traffic cam. This is traffic getting out of Manhattan. Usually at this hour, it's not that bad coming out, but this is a mess. And that you're looking at the entrance of the upper roadway. The lower is no better. Right now, it's about 30 minutes to get out. You can see traffic flowing into Manhattan pretty well, but the traffic going out, it's taking you about 30 minutes to get out of Manhattan, and that's causing backup and residual delays all the way across to the Cross Bronx Expressway. So if you know somebody coming into Manhattan, you're expecting a delivery, that is what they're waiting in right now. Take a look at some of the other traffic right now. A crash investigation right now on Route 40, and that is eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes remain closed. Folks are being detoured off, so follow the detour and use caution. Crash on I-295 northbound north of exit 26N, which is Route 76 in Belmar, which is near Pennsylvania by Philadelphia. 2 right lanes closed. We have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State local lanes northbound south of exit 123 Route 9 in Sayreville. The right lane is blocked through there. Crash and overturned tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike western spur southbound exit ramp by 15E routes 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open, but the right half of the exit ramp remains blocked. And we still have that emergency construction and sinkhole repair on I-80 eastbound at exit 34 Route 15 in Horton. All lanes are closed. People being detoured off. It's about a 30 to 60-minute detour, and that's going to be for the next few weeks at least. 8:19 is our time with Passover just a month away. In fact, from today, it's a month away. Families everywhere gearing up for a holiday filled with great stories, traditions, and of course, wonderful holiday food. But if you're feeling a little overwhelmed about making it fun and meaningful for the kids, PJ Library has you covered. Their Passover Hub is launching this month with everything from a downloadable Passover guide to a family-friendly Haggadah, plus some exciting surprises. Joining us now is Lorie Stiefel from PJ Library. Good morning, Lorie. Good to have you on.
Good morning. So great to be here.
Well, it's wonderful. Listen, I used to be a Catholic priest, but I love the whole tradition of Passover, and I was blessed to have neighbors who were conservative Jews, and I would go celebrate with them, honor the holiday with them. They would have me over on the second night. It was always so special, and it's such a rich tradition. Passover is so beautiful with such history. Can you tell us what inspired PJ Library to create this Passover hub and how it's designed to help families to bring the holiday to life for kids and for maybe even people who haven't been honoring and remembering Passover over the years? This is a good way to do it.
Absolutely. One of the great things about PJ Libraries, we provide all sorts of resources for families of all walks of life. And so specifically with Passover, as you mentioned, it's such a great opportunity to tell stories, to eat, to be with family and friends and eat beautiful food, really tasty food. So we have this really Passover hub that has downloadable guides. We have a great new Passover guide that you can download. You can download a copy of our Passover Haggadah, which is the guide for the Passover Seder. You can also order it online. We have recipes. We have all sorts of how-to. So even if it's your first time hosting a Passover Seder, or maybe it's your 15th time, we have something for everyone. In fact, we even have a guide for like a 15-minute Seder so if you have a small human in your life who maybe can't stay up late or doesn't have the patience to do all the things, we've absolutely got you covered.
I love that. And also it's a great resource for people who are not Jewish, who are being invited on a second night or another night, right? To maybe get a little head start, read ahead. You can download that guide and see what you will be praying and the stories and everything. So you get an idea of what to encounter. Because I know so many people who are not Jewish, they think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to say something wrong. No, it's about family and friends and love and tradition. And that's the beauty of the holiday, right? So the guide sounds like a game changer for busy
It
parents. You
really
mentioned kids too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It really is. I think it really is because it really helps create a lower barrier to entry for these holidays. So again, if it's something that maybe you grew up doing, I grew up celebrating Passover, and I learned something new from the guides and from the Haggadah all the time. My kids love it. And again, also, it's a great opportunity for those who aren't familiar with the traditions to kind of learn more and lean into it. And PJ Library really has such great resources on our website. And we send these great free Jewish content books to families every single month. We have a couple of really great ones. I love this. Like, this is for the smaller humans. Where's the Afikoman? We've got the Passover parrot. We've got alligator seder. We have such a great lineup, and you can check out everything on our website. And also our Passover hub is pjlibrary.org/Passover. So you can check out all of our resources there. And I noticed in the gallery of images, you showed a picture of the Strites matzah box. And we're super excited because this is our second year partnering with Strites matzah. And just as you might look for the afikoman and the piece of matzah during the Passover Seder, you can go searching in stores for the 5-pound box of matzah, and you can see our PJ Library logo. And we actually have these really cool, I don't know if you can see this. It's called a question catcher. When I was a kid, I called it a cootie catcher, of course. But it's got all these really great questions on how to, and for engaging not only the kids and the grown-ups at the Passover table.
And it's a good way those are the questions, right, from scripture. So it's a reminder. It's a good way to teach little ones about the history, right, and going back in scripture to 5,000 years ago and the ancestry that is the rich ancestry of Judaism. And by the way, I was shocked to see this number. 200,000 downloads you have. You've reached 200,000 families in the last 7 years with your site. That's awesome.
It's amazing. And what's really cool is we send books not only throughout North America, but all over the world. So not only do people have great access to our website, we've got a phenomenal podcast, but books are going out everywhere and enriching lives all across the world.
And you have a book called Next Year in the White House about Barack Obama's first presidential Seder. What's the story behind the book, and why do you think it's perfect for Passover?
Oh, it's such a cool story. So essentially, so this month, 8-year-old subscribers are receiving this book, and it came out last month from Crown Books for young readers and PJ Library, and it tells the story of how a makeshift Seder on the campaign trail led to the first ever presidential Seder in American history. It's also available for purchase where all books are sold. So it's a really cool book that we have out, and it's just a part of American history right now.
That's awesome. I could just hear it now. Let's close our eyes for a second. Michelle, could you hand me the bitter herbs?
Right? Oh, those bitter herbs are
That's
much
right.
spicier than I thought. So it's a really great fun story. And again, like I mean, to have something like this in the White House, I mean, I don't think it gets cooler
Yeah.
than that, honestly.
No, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And beyond the books and the guides too, the Passover Hub has lots of recipes, activities, videos. You talk about the 4 questions. What is one of your favorite kid-friendly ideas, other than what you just showed us? Some other ideas that the folks can try with their kids this year.
Oh my gosh, so many. So there's so many easy recipes that you can make for Passover. You know, sometimes it can feel a bit intimidating because there's some laws and rules around what you can and can't eat.
Right.
Primarily, I can't eat anything like wheat or leavened. But we have such great recipes. In my family, a tradition, and this is something that you can do at home, so that afikomen, so you hide a piece of matzah in the middle of the Seder. So think of it kind of like a scavenger hunt. Our family's tradition, we do chocolate matzah. So it's that much more of an incentive
Ooh.
for the kids to go searching for it. And then what we also do, usually second night, my kids like to hide the afikoman and the grown-ups have to go find it. So it's really, you know, the traditions that we have, you can really make them your own. And that is something that I feel is so special with
And,
Judaism and then with the resources we have with PJ Library.
And can I share with my non-Jewish friends what my feelings are, because I want to always respect my. By the way, half my family is Jewish, so my husband's family. My husband's last name is Sobel, so we
Okay.
we honor all the holidays. And but what I tend to find in one of my local supermarkets is, because matzah is so delicious. You don't have to be Jewish to love matzah. Um,
True.
and it just right, you could eat it, put it on the table, and have it all the time. But I
Oh,
always
yeah.
ask my Christian friends, I remind them, at the high holy days, leave the matzah for Jews to buy, so that because they need it. Jews need it for the holidays. You can buy all the matzah you want all year, but I've noticed, because I've seen shelves go empty because all the
Yes.
non-Jews are buying up the matzah. So this is just from a former priest to my Christian friends. Let the Jews have the matzah at the high holy days. Just be respectful. That's all. But it is delicious, and Strites is great.
I agree. I
So
love
there you
that.
go. Well, I'm so happy for you and excited. It is PJ Library, the Passover Hub. Lorie Stiefel, thank you so much for being with us. Good Yom Tov to you, and thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Come on
much.
anytime. Really, we'd love to
I
have you back anytime.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too, and a blessed holiday to you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care. It is now 39 degrees at 8:28. The phone lines are open. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. How are you spending St. Patrick's Day? We're going to talk to the GM of a major regional Irish pub. He has an Italian name like me, but he manages. In fact, I've been to this pub many times. It's awesome. We're going to ask how they are preparing for the big holiday. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta says partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, a little cloudier to the south, kind of gray as you go south, actually. Highs in the low 50s. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You, my friends, are watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/On New Jersey. We're coming right back. Good morning. It is Thursday, March 13th, 2025, 39 degrees at 8:32. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning. Got a pretty decent day ahead, but you'll notice the winds pick up by the end of the weekend with gusts as high as 50 miles per hour, maybe even higher at the coast. It'll get quite breezy around here. But until then, the chilly, cloudy weather remains, even though we get a few breaks of sun this morning in northern New Jersey. And then again tomorrow, plan on a very windy weekend with those winds over 50 miles per hour at the coast, with the southerly wind coming in right off of the water. That'll bring in some milder air toward the end of Sunday, but until then, cooler at the coast. 48 degrees today is your high in Atlantic City. Back over toward Camden, Glassboro, and Millville, a little bit warmer with those highs climbing into the mid 50s. Now, as far as where we sit on average, we're running slightly above average, but after so much warm weather earlier this week, it's kind of hard to adjust back to that cooler feel that's around today. With all of the clouds that are now entering the portion of southern and central New Jersey, northern New Jersey still has a lot of sunshine around, but not for long as those clouds kind of filter out the sun into the end of the day. It also brings higher rain chances by Sunday, even though there's a little bit of chance of a rain for late Saturday. Plan on Sunday seeing the brunt of that wet weather, specifically later on at night. And even though it spills over into Monday's forecast after midnight, that's where the 40% is. I think we start off nice and dry and clear on Monday, bringing back lots of sun for St. Patrick's Day. As far as the air quality, a little bit less down toward Millville and down by Cape May. But beyond that, overall, air quality is good today, and we'll keep it that way at least through this afternoon, as long as that easterly breeze persists, keeping the air nice and clear. The Futurecast showing all of those clouds around for today, for tomorrow, as well as for Saturday. What it doesn't show is that wind that pushes in. Those were the gusts that I mentioned before, upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour. And then with the warm front on Sunday, that will provide the fuel for the storms with that cold front by late Sunday night into Monday morning. It all pushes through by daybreak on Monday, so it'll be well off to our east. But by then, we'll have anywhere from a half inch to an inch of rainfall after those gusty winds. 7-day forecast, plenty of sun around, I think, by next week. So enjoy the cooler, calmer breeze that's around throughout the end of this work week, because it gets very windy this weekend. Temperatures warm up well into the upper 60s and then cool down a little bit, with a little bit of sunshine returning for Monday, more sun Tuesday, even more sun Wednesday. And with that, temperatures climb up to near 70. So it'll feel fantastic middle of next week, back to enjoying that pleasant feel. The coastal locations see a little bit of fog, and you'll notice that with the calm breezes to start the day on Saturday, as the warm air pushes in southern New Jersey first, with the cool ocean nearby, that tends to create a little bit of fog, and that all blows out with the gusty winds on Sunday. Monday, a clearing takes over, and that'll keep us a little bit cooler. Notice a slightly cooler trend into the first part of next week, as the ocean influence is still pretty evident this time of year. Ken, you've been mentioning it takes, anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks for that ocean to warm up. Yeah, it'll take some time before we get some warmer weather in here to make for a more pleasant feel at the beaches. But still, it'll look great with all that sunshine around early next weekend.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. It is now 39 degrees at 8:35. And if we could take that traffic cam right now, Pam, if I may trouble you for that. We showed you this a few minutes ago. This is the heading westbound out of Manhattan. Again, Pam, this is mile marker 122.0. Southbound 95 upper, there it is. So you see all that delay. This is taking about 45 minutes for trucks and vehicles to exit Manhattan and come into New Jersey. We now find out why. There's a disabled tractor trailer on the GWB on the upper level, which is what they're going on to. So this is the right lane that is blocked, and that's causing the very delay that you see on your screen right now. So everybody's jamming over to the left as if the morning drive traffic wasn't tough enough. We have a crash investigation on Route 40 eastbound at Route 9 in Pleasantville. All lanes are closed and everybody's being detoured off for that crash, and an overturned tractor trailer still on the Turnpike Western Spur. southbound by interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open, but the right half of the exit ramp is blocked. Emergency construction and sinkhole repair on I-80 eastbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes are closed and folks are being detoured. 8:37 right now. St. Patrick's Day just around the corner, just a few days away. And here in New Jersey, one spot is gearing up for a celebration that's as big as the Emerald Isle itself. The Shannon Rose Irish Pub in Ramsey is expecting to serve up a staggering 2,000 pounds of corned beef and to pour more than 6,400 pints of Guinness from 60 kegs. We're joined now by Sal La Verdi, who's the general manager of the Shannon Rose, to give us a taste of how they're preparing for this Irish holiday extravaganza. Sal, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Ken. I appreciate it.
You bet. Now, by the way, I've been to the Shannon Rose. I used to live right near the other Shannon Rose, your sister location in Clifton, right? That's in Clifton?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have two
So,
Shannon Rose. There is one in Clifton, and I'm up here in Ramsey, New Jersey. So really, there's a Shannon Rose close to just about everybody.
yeah, those are two very key locations for the northern half of New Jersey. So you have 2,000 pounds of corned beef ready to go, 60 kegs of Guinness. That's an incredible amount. Take us behind the scenes. What kind of preparation does it take, and
Uh,
how long is the preparation for the Shannon Rose for St. Patrick's Day?
we start preparation really the day after St. Patrick's Day for the following year. It is a very long process of, looking at our numbers, making sure that we have enough in house for everyone to come here and celebrate with. So, yeah, preparation starts right off the bat, and we are ready to go to throw the biggest party in New Jersey for St. Patrick's Day at the Shannon Rose Irish Pubs this year.
How many people do you have at your Ramsey location working there on St. Pat's?
Currently, we're upward of about 40, 45 people working that day to make sure that the festivities go off without a hitch.
And what would you say? Because I mean, the Shannon Rose is a landmark for anybody who wants to celebrate any time of year. It's a great family destination, but specifically for St. Patrick's Day. What makes the Shannon Rose's St. Patrick's Day celebration stand out from the rest, aside from all the corned beef and Guinness that you have?
Thanks, Ken. That's a great question for us. So we really do throw a traditional St. Patrick's Day party. We have step dancers, bagpipers. We throw parties. We're decorated. We do a Foods of Ireland menu, which features not only our great Irish fare that's on our menu year round, but it also includes some special items like braised lamb version of our shepherd's pie that has a cold cannon mashed potato on top, and shepherd's pie croquettes, also big favorite of people. So we put a lot of effort to bring as much tradition and as much Shannon Rose to people's lives for the entire month of March. That's really what separates us, makes us pretty special.
So I used to work in restaurants about 100 years ago, back when they had no electricity. Um, how many walk-ins do you guys have to have in order to prep everything? For those who don't realize, a walk-in is a giant room which is refrigerated, but that's where you store trays of stuff so it's ready to go. Because the restaurant business, it's all about preparation, right?
Oh, it is all about preparation. And yeah, we beat our checklist down, make sure that we cover everything. Some of our great vendors that we work with do give us extra refrigerated space so that we can keep beers cold and keep food cold off the property. But our walk ins will be completely organized, but totally packed for the entire weekend.
Yeah, it is an art to properly organize the walk-ins. As when I first got into the business, I was just dumbfounded by the amount of organization, the charts that the managers have to keep. You have to keep everything at a certain temperature, right? You have to minimize the opening and closing of doors. I mean, there's a lot to it. People think, oh, I just come in, I order a dish, they pull out the food, they cook it, and I'm served. You and 2,000 other guests say they have no idea the effort that it takes. By the way, I was in the business for like 2 years. My legs would swell up at night. I said, enough. I gave up. That's why I got lazy and got into broadcasting, just so you know. So I do appreciate what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Now, with what it's the truth for people who don't realize. With 6,430 pints of Guinness on tap, which is mind boggling. I'm guessing pouring the perfect pint is a bit of an art form. What's the secret to keeping it quality and that when you move that much beer?
It really is. You have to pour Guinness the proper way. And when we go through our training, every new bartender, we go through the entire process with them, the two-stage process, making sure it takes 219 and a half seconds to pour the proper Guinness. And actually, when we opened our Clifton location, Guinness was there and awarded Shannon Rose an award for pouring the perfect pint, which hangs in the Shannon Rose Clifton pub today.
And I remember the first time I ever tried a Guinness. It was back when you could not get it in the United States. So we're talking in the mid 1980s before it was imported. And I was in Rome right after I graduated high school. I remember going into a bar and I couldn't wait to try Guinness. And they said, "How much you want?" They asked me in Italian. I said, a liter, thinking a liter, not even realizing it. So they bring out, of course, the giant liter. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's ice cold beer, not realizing, no, it is heavy, stout, brown, thick, soupy, and warm. But yet a good connoisseur loves that. That's what they go for, right? So, but that's
You know,
anyone who
when,
loves
you know,
Guinness, they can't get away from that.
Ken, if you nail the temperature and you nail the pour on a Guinness, honestly, nothing tastes better to me.
Right. But it's something that is, I think, for an American who's used to a light Pilsner, it's an
Oh,
acquired
yeah,
taste, right? Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
different. It's different. It's like somebody who drinks beer suddenly switching to scotch. You take that first sip, you don't chug a scotch, you don't chug a Guinness.
Yeah.
These are special beers, and there's a lot of art to brewing a Guinness. It's a very special beer. Now, for folks at home who might want to join the festivities, what can they expect when they walk through the doors of the Shannon Rose this St. Patrick's Day for the first time?
I mean, when you walk through the door, you are walking into New Jersey's biggest party for St. Patrick's Day. There's no way around it. There's going to be live Irish music. You're going to catch sight of bagpipers, step dancers. The place will be decorated from the floor to the ceiling. The staff will decorate themselves. Will wear a lot of fun green accents everywhere. The energy in the room will just be so happy and so high that there's no way that you can have a bad time at the Shannon Rose. It's absolutely impossible to walk into a Shannon Rose on St. Patrick's Day and not feel overwhelmed with joy and family and tradition. It's a really great time.
Now, you have an Italian last name, La Verdi, as I have Rosato, but people may not realize Verdi, Verdi or Verde, means green in Italian, right? So
It
you were
does.
born you were born to work at an Irish restaurant or an Irish pub. That's perfect. After all the corned beef and Guinness, what is your personal way to unwind after you must be exhausted after the holiday rush is over?
As soon as the rush is over, I like to celebrate also with a Guinness at the end of my shift. And that's just how I like to unwind, and then really just put my feet up and feel good about what we did. I apologize about that.
This people are making reservations already. We like that, and I would imagine
Oh,
it's a good idea. Try to get a reservation if it's still available right now, right?
yeah, absolutely.
What's your website,
Calling
Sal?
in advance, either pub, Shannon Rose, Clifton, or Ramsey. Just give us a call ahead of time. Always best to know what you're walking into for sure.
And you can Google. I Googled it earlier this morning. It's just the Shannon Rose, and it pops up immediately. You get the two locations left and right on the screens. It's very easy to navigate your website. It's great. Sal La
Thank
Verdi,
you.
General Manager of the Shannon Rose and Ramsey. I love you guys. I've been going to, as I said, because I used to live near the Clifton one, so I always went to the Clifton one. The food is outrageous, and it's a fun place. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet, my friend. Have a good one. It is now 39 degrees at 8:45. A Bergen County Prosecutor's Office lieutenant in some hot water. We're going to tell you why. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs low 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast, plus a very special birthday wish you won't want to miss. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:47, and we're not going to take a call right now because we have something special coming up. So let's skip the calls now, and we'll wait till the next time we're on. Partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state, cloudier to the south, highs in the low 50s. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. It's warming up nicely at 8:47 this morning. Got a beautiful feel for this afternoon. Now, highs in northern New Jersey won't be as warm as yesterday. We'll only climb to about 51 up in Sussex, but you'll notice a little more sunshine squeeze out between the clouds today in northern New Jersey, like toward Wayne, Hackensack, and even Jersey City by day's end, thanks to most of those clouds hanging around in central and southern New Jersey. That also happens to be where the drought is at its worst, and with the extreme drought continuing, the area shaded in red. It's all due to the very dry conditions, not just in the last 30 days, where we've actually seen above average rainfall. This goes back months, even back to the end of summer, where our rainfall has been quite low and lacking in comparison. There's still a bit of an improvement for rain statewide, except for the northern part of the state, where we're still about a 1-inch rainfall deficit. But we get some good soaking rains on Sunday night. It's not going to bust the drought, but it'll help. Every drop counts, especially when it's been this dry. Warmer weather returns by the end of the month, and this is the last week of the month showing above average temperatures in the northeastern corner of the U.S. That includes us here in New Jersey. But in terms of rainfall, look to be just slightly above average. Maybe not soaking wet, but we'll take the dry weather, especially with the clearing that it brings by next week. So clouds around for the rest of the day today and really thickening up by Saturday, our most overcast day of the 7-day. With the rain that comes in for Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, there's a good gust of wind before that helps temperatures climb up to around 70 degrees. Granted, it'll be very windy with gusts as high as 50 miles per hour statewide, even higher at the coast. When the front clears, it brings in drier weather for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and highs back into the upper 60s, around 70 by the end of next week. That'll feel great. Different at the shore points. Now, this time of year, with the cooler Atlantic influence, we get the fog around for Saturday. Afternoon highs only reach the 40s each day, and there's even gustier winds with Saturday storms. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sees a clearing trend, but not as warm. Only into the upper 50s, maybe low 60s by Wednesday. So a different feel depending on your location. But again, lots of wind this weekend. It's kind of the headline and the crux of the forecast with those very gusty conditions by Sunday afternoon. We've got more weather coming up for you. Let you know what to expect right down to your neighborhood here in New Jersey, Ken. It's with your next weather update.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. At 8:49, let's take a look at a traffic cam right now. This is from Manhattan going into the GWB. So it's the upper level westbound entrance. You can see it's still pretty crowded there, but it is starting to move. So from what I'm understanding, the disabled tractor trailer that was blocking the right lane may have been cleared. So that's why we have a little bit of movement right now, but we still have delays. It's going to take at least 30 minutes to get across the GWB into New Jersey from Manhattan. We have a crash investigation, Route 40 eastbound at Route 9, and that's in Pleasantville. All lanes closed and people being detoured off. And we have a crash and overturned tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur by the southbound exit ramp interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open. The right half of the exit ramp is blocked, though, causing delays, of course. And on I-80 eastbound at exit 34, we have emergency construction and the sinkhole repair still, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes closed, people being detoured off. 8:50 now. New Jersey's Attorney General says a Bergen County Prosecutor's Office lieutenant is in hot water. Published reports say in 2023, 48-year-old Kevin Matthew of Cedar Grove was suspended and arrested for allegedly removing and tampering with drugs held in the evidence vault. Officials say he was indicted yesterday. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin says Matthew is charged with removing and tampering with drug evidence, including cocaine and fentanyl, on multiple occasions. He also was charged with financial facilitation of criminal activity, structuring financial transactions, and filing fraudulent tax returns in connection with depositing about $600,000 in cash into bank accounts that he controlled. Translation of that, investigators say Matthew got hold of those drugs and somehow came into hundreds of thousands in cash and made a number of tiny deposits so as not to alert bank officials, while not being able to explain how he came into all of that money. At 8:51, a federal judge was asked to intervene yesterday after outgoing USAID staffers received an email from disgruntled outgoing managers to come in one last time to destroy all of that agency's documents and paperwork by shredding and burning it all, a move that may be illegal as it may violate the Congressional Records Act. It comes as the Trump administration has been dismantling USAID, cutting off most federal funding, pulling all but a few hundred staffers off the job, and shutting down the agency's Washington headquarters. A federal criminal complaint was unsealed yesterday, charging the head of one of the divisions of Customs and Border Protection with scheming to defraud FEMA before lying to the feds about it. Officials say 55-year-old Serena Baker Hill of Detroit is a career customs employee. Following some Detroit area floods in 2023, Michigan residents could apply for financial assistance from FEMA. Investigators say Baker Hill received money to rent a temporary home while her home was being repaired, but they say instead she stayed in her home and still cashed those checks. That is considered fraud, and she is now in trouble because of that. 39 degrees is our temperature, 8:53 is the time. And this is from the "you can't make this stuff up" category. Environmental extremists define hypocrisy. The socialist government of Brazil is hosting a big climate summit this coming November. The summit is called the COP30. Tens of thousands of wealthy climate activists and liberal politicians will be flying in on their private fuel-guzzling jets. But the nearest airport to the gathering in the town of Belém, Belém means Bethlehem in Portuguese, is a long ride off from where they will land. So to make the drive easier, the socialists of Brazil will cut down, get this, miles and miles of protected Amazon rainforest, potentially killing lots of wildlife in the process. So the activists will have an easier time getting from the airport to where the summit is being held. Because nothing says sustainable and environmentally friendly more than cutting down a protected rainforest, killing rare wildlife, and flying in with private jets, right? Ironically, for years, environmentalists have said the Amazon plays a vital role in absorbing carbon for the world and providing biodiversity. It is just crazy to think the likes of Al Gore, who has been caught numerous times getting onto a private jet, who for a decade denied flying private. He was then confronted at a private airport getting onto his private jet that was all fueled up and waiting for him to take off. And at first he denied that it was his. Then it turns out it was his. He has multiple private jets. Where he got the money, you got to scratch your head. And then he says, well, it's the only way I can get from point A to point B effectively. And that is what Al Gore has done with all the donations that people have made to him to protect the environment. A private jet, by the way, takes up almost as much fuel as a large commercial jet, believe it or not. So to fly a Learjet that seats about 12 people, it takes up about 40% of the fuel that a 737 takes for the same distance. So it's not like it's fuel efficient. It is not. And the idea that somebody like Al Gore needs to get onto a private jet to fly from point A to point B, ostensibly to protect the climate, is just nothing but hypocrisy. All right, it is 8:55. Enough of my babbling on. We have a very special happy birthday shout out this morning for the aunt of ONNJ, New Jersey's Lisa Marie Falbo. That lady right there is the aunt. We should bring Mike in on this too, can we? We should bring Mike in on this because he speaks Italian. Anyway, this is Lisa's aunt, Josephine Malice. In Italian, it's pronounced Giuseppina Malace. She turns 107 years old tomorrow. Mwah. God bless you, Giuseppina. That means that she was born March 14th, 1918, in the beautiful southern Italian town of Satriano, Calabria. She came to America, legally, I might add, in 1936. She built a beautiful life in the town of Belleville, right outside of Newark, with her husband, Joseph. She raised 3 sons, and she has 5 grandchildren. The happiest of birthdays to this beautiful lady, 107 more. Let me do this in Italian if I can, so we can record this here. Lisa, record this for your aunt. A Giuseppina, io auguro il più felice dei compleanni ed altri 107. Buon compleanno, amore mia. That means happy birthday to my love. Another 107. Very, very, very special day to you. What a great lady. And there she is, Josephine Malace. Everyone pronounced it Malice because it's Mallace, but it's Malace in Italian. What a great lady. Does she look 107 to you? Not to me, that's for sure. That was her at 100. Does she look like she's 100 there? She looks like she's maybe 80 at most in that picture, and she was 100 years old. Good genes for Lisa Marie Falbo. Hang out with the members of her family, that's for sure. It is now, 39, 40 degrees at 8:57. And meteorologist Mike Pavetta tells us it'll be partly sunny this morning in the northern part of the state. We're going to have more clouds to the south, highs in the low 50s. Then through the rest of the week, clouds ugly. It's going to get very, very windy by the weekend with maybe 50-mile-an-hour gusts. Not a pleasant weekend. But that's when we get the transition because we're coming into spring by the end of next week. We have springtime. Monday's the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and the 20th is the springtime comes, right? So that's it. And that is on New Jersey Morning, Thursday, March 13th. I'm Ken Rosato, and visit ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/on New Jersey. We will catch you again tomorrow morning. Tell all your friends about this wonderful show called On New Jersey. If you love us, if you hate us, don't say a word. Yourself. Have a wonderful day, folks. See you tomorrow.